Now, Yuka, top news here in France today is that we have a new Prime Minister, I believe the fourth in the space of 12 months, and he's still got the same old job plugging the deficit gap. What can you tell us about that?
Well, Alexander, the collapse of François Bayrou's government was over its plans to cut 44 billion euros in public spending next year to rein in France's huge debt. Mr. Lecornu must now put a new spending plan on the table, and President Macron has actually asked him to consult with all political parties to try and first agree on a budget before forming a government. That's because if this year's budget were to be carried over into next year, it's projected to widen fiscal deficit further. Now, at 5.8% of GDP, France's budget deficit was the highest in the European Union last year. Greece, while having a large debt pile, managed to end the year with a surplus at 1.3% of GDP, and Italy's deficit was closer to the EU's limit at 3.4%. And at 114% of GDP at the end of the first quarter, France's debt is the third highest in the EU after Greece and Italy. But in terms of the amount, it is the highest at 3.35 trillion euros. Alex.
And let's talk about why this is important. It makes it more expensive for France to borrow money on the markets, doesn't it?
With the goal of reducing fiscal deficit looking increasingly hard to achieve amid the political turmoil, investors have responded with higher risks premiums on French bonds. Now, the yield on France's 10-year bond has risen from below 3% in December of last year to about 3.5% now. The premium on the long-term 30-year bond has come down this week, but it hit the highest level since the 2009 financial crisis earlier this month. Fitch is set to review its credit rating for France on Friday. It's currently above those for Italy and Greece, but while they saw their ratings or outlooks upgraded recently, France saw the opposite. Earlier on France 24, we asked economist Charlotte de Montpellier how investors are viewing France right now.
So the public finances are much more deteriorated in France than in other countries, so that's very clear. But it does not mean that there is no solution. There is no way to end this situation. So we know that the French economy remains relatively strong, that there is a way of having some more taxation, there is a way of cutting spending. So it's more about the political situation that make it very difficult to find a budget that is a bit of a worry for the investor, more than about the state of the economy itself. So it's a bit different than in other episodes in history, where, for instance, with Greece, there were a lot of concern about the economy itself, whether it would be possible to have taxation because people were evading taxation. It's not the case here. The thing is that since the political situation is so difficult, it seems very clear that it will be difficult to find an agreement, and that's a worry for investors. But it's not a full-blown crisis, I would say, to be very sure. It's more like that the worry has increased, so that means more higher risk premium and so higher bond yields.
So it seems that there is an agreement that there is a problem with France's budget, but whereas the Bayrou government wanted to save around 44 billion euros
in spending. Yeah, the opposition wants to raise tax for the rich. Now, one of the ideas that we've heard a lot in recent days is a new wealth tax proposed by economist Gabriel Zucman. It's included in counter-budget proposals by the leftist France Unbowed and the Greens parties. The idea is to impose a 2% tax on fortunes worth more than 100 million euros and to raise an estimated 15 to 20 billion euros per year. Ousted Prime Minister Bayrou repeatedly warned that such a measure would only prompt investors to leave France. Now, in Norway, a long-standing wealth tax also became a campaign issue in the latest election, in which the incumbent centre-left bloc that defended it clinched victory. Brian Quinn has the details.
At a victory celebration for Norway's Labour Party in Oslo, a buoyant mood Monday night. Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Støre holding on to his office, and with it, Labour's economic policies aimed at reducing inequality.
A lot of the Norwegian people have said that they would like 4 new years with prioritizing the money on the people that needs it most and not the people that have the most.
Among those policies, the country's long-standing wealth tax. Dating back to 1892, it charges 1.1% on assets worth more than 176 million kroner, roughly 150,000 euros. In the run-up to Monday's vote, Norway's centre-right Conservative Party argued for reducing the wealth tax. The right-wing populist Progress Party wanted to abolish it altogether, arguing that it stifles entrepreneurship.
Some of the Norwegians that are really creating a lot of jobs are successful businessmen. They are moving to Switzerland, to Sweden, and this is not sustainable for Norway.
After Labour removed some exemptions in 2022, dozens of billionaires and multimillionaires did move abroad, moves many Norwegians considered a betrayal of social responsibility and the country's egalitarian spirit. Labour says that getting rid of the tax would have cost public coffers some 2.9 billion euros per year. Popular Finance Minister Jens Stoltenberg arguing that its abolition would allow the wealthiest Norwegians to pay almost nothing. Norway is one of the world's richest nations, thanks in large part to its massive oil and gas reserves. Along with Spain and Switzerland, it's one of just 3 European nations to have a wealth tax.